Yeah, I'm back. 2 days, little blip not uploading, but that's life. It's unpredictable. But I'm here and I'm gonna talk about God. So roll the intro.
No doubt that I never be without my damn brain. Closed mouth, I'm clever and I know my damn shame. No cloud to the better, no one know my damn name. No bow, that's your what I guess we about to cascade.
Yeah, I don't know what prompted this. Maybe a few discussions that I've been having recently. Maybe it's just something that's been rattling around my brain for a bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a topic that I think about sometimes. The way I describe my belief system is I believe in God with a lowercase g. I don't believe that there's a higher power that I ascribe to. Definitely, but I recognize that God is like a force in our culture, in our world. It definitely affects how certain people act, and maybe to a certain extent how I act. There's probably a lot of stuff about my values and morality that could be traced back to the culture and religion that kind of grew before I was born, but particularly because I've got English and Spanish sides of the family, so that's a bit of like Protestant Catholic stuff. But nothing. I grew up in a secular background, so I wouldn't say that there's much like direct religious teachings that I ascribe to. But you know, there's a lot of unknowns in this world. Some people call it God, some people call it fate, some people call it destiny or chance or luck. Yeah, for me, I just kind of think of it as the unknown. There's a lot of stuff that I won't know until very late in life if science develops, or maybe I won't ever know. You know, and for me, that's okay. I feel like my perspective as an outsider to religion is that God is like a label for the unknown. It's like, oh, there's forces that we don't understand that are controlling this aspect of life. So if we label it as God, then that's something we can personify and kind of interact with. And for me, it's not like I don't interact with the unknown. It's just I'm happy to leave it as unknown. I think something as someone who's kind of lived a pretty like well lived childhood, and that it's just like the little bits of chance and random luck in life kind of give it its unpredictability, and that unpredictability makes it exciting and dynamic. Obviously it goes without saying that life wouldn't be interesting if it was always the same, but I'm happy to leave that as the unknown. Sorry, I'm just gonna drink some water. I'm hungover. Yeah, maybe I was just praying to a higher power when I woke up this morning because of how dehydrated I was, but I don't think that's the case. But yeah, no, I'm a believer of God in the lowercase g. Um, I don't. I'm not ruling myself out from ever being in a religion. It's not for me, right? Especially right now. But yeah, maybe I don't need don't need a reason to believe in God. But at the moment, there isn't one, regardless. But yeah, I don't know, because I think that I've kind of always been opposed to about certain religions is like the idea of like objective morality, or like just the idea that there's some authority or some kind of power that can, you know, just decide an objective morality, can state a set of rules that aren't changeable, that are just unerring and last throughout all of society. I don't think that's the way it should be. I think everything when it comes to morality is subjective. It's based off your own experience and the experience of others. And you know, my position has always been, if there is an objective morality, which is the authority that's stating it, and how do you know that's true? And I don't really expect anyone to give me a direct answer to that. It's just that's where I stand. It's like, I think at least what drives me in terms of my morality is my subjective experience. I think all of it comes from the sets of experiences and the upbringing that I've had and the people I've met and the situations I've been in. I don't think any of it is to do with like anything objective in any way. But I didn't really just come up with that. It's also been affected by like TV shows and films and media that I consume, and it's yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I I quite like the idea that morality is like well, virtue is like a skill. It was kind of like what Aristotle apparently used to be about. He used to say that morality was like a skill, and that only through practicing virtue, practicing being a good person, trying to get better, is itself getting better. Um, yeah, there's a TV show called The Good Place, which is about like the afterplace and morality, which kind of talks about that a lot. I really love the show. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, for example, I don't believe in the afterlife. I remember when I was in year six, I had this kind of realization that one day I will be dead, you know? And from the background I've grown up in, it wasn't like my parents told me there wasn't an afterlife, they just didn't tell me there was. So I've kind of always grown up thinking, once you're dead, you know, that's it. That's my belief. End of the road, end of the line. It's like, and then so in year six, I kind of had that realization. One day that's going to be me, you know, in the box and being eaten by worms in the dirt, and that like eternal just non-existence at the end of this, in my opinion, is what gives me meaning. You know, um, I think the idea that I'm not going to live forever means that the time I have is valuable somewhat. You know. Um, and that also applies to the whole objective subjective morality thing as well. I think the subjectivity of my experience is what gives my life meaning. I think the fact that it feels like it's my life and what I do is dependent on like what I've seen and what I've done, the experiences I've had and what I've learned in the 19 years of my living. I feel like that gives me the agency to do what I want to do in my life. And I was having a discussion recently with some friends about like free will, you know, and determinism. And I don't know whether free will exists or whether it's all just something we make up, but I'm of the belief that whatever the truth is about free will, you have to act as if free will exists for life to have any meaning. I I don't like the idea that we're just pre-programmed biological machines that just go from A to B, or like we're just particles bouncing off other particles in the world. I don't personally get any like meaning or joy from that. Like it doesn't. When I think of that as the narrative of my life, it kind of just seems plain. It just seems dry. I think all the things that bring like color and depth and joy to my life are all things that are unique to my own subjective experience. You know, it's like there's nothing objective about hearing a certain person in your life's laugh, you know, where you hear them laugh and you're like, that's only that person's laugh, and it makes me happy just to hear that person's unique laugh. There's not like no one else's, you know. And I'm sure there is a objective scientific explanation, but that's not what makes that laugh bring me joy. It's not like, oh yes, that the sound waves bouncing against my eardrums, making the reverberation, sending the message to my brain is linked to all of this. Like, I know that may be true, but it's not helpful to me. It's it's the idea itself of like, oh, this is a person in my life and I've made them laugh, and that's a unique sound because of the way everybody laughs differently. And it's like that in itself gives it more meaning to me than the scientific or objective explanation, you know. I don't really know whether that makes sense or whether I'm preaching or rambling, but it's just a bit of a whole mix-em up, innit? Maybe I make this video in 2 years and I've changed completely. Maybe I'm the exact same, but I hope that I can still be open to change in this topic. I don't want to just be set in my ways like this forever, but it's just like something I'll test with what I see in the world, you know? Maybe there's experiences that will cloud my judgment or already have clouded my judgment, but we're all biased in some way or another, you know? This would be a completely different video if I'd been raised from a religious background or from a completely different secular background, you know? Or maybe I'd seen a couple different cartoons growing up and it could have set me on a different path in life, but at least I'm grateful that I'm in a place where I can freely express these opinions, you know? I'm in a place where I can accept other people for their beliefs and other people can accept me for mine, you know? At least that's how I feel. I'll kind of add a little tail at the end just saying if I've said something that's offended someone with certain beliefs, then I'm happy to address what I've said or, you know, find a better way of expressing myself, but at this current moment, that's just how I feel. And yeah, I hope that if you don't believe in a higher power, that you know that belief works out for you, and if you do, I hope that works out for you. You know, I'm hoping that it works out for everyone, whatever creed you're from. But yeah, I don't know, kind of ran out of steam at the end. Uh, have a great week. Have a good weekend. Live healthy, live free. I don't know. Have a good one.